sentencing of the killer in Southport of the four little girls, the attack on the dance class, the response of mainstream politicians has been appalling. Why? Because they all seem to be talking about prevent, the monitoring bureaucracy that the government put in place to oversee extremist threats. So this is, about Al Qaeda, ISIS. I don't know, us lot on the left. I mean, I do remember a report that was drawn up at Goldsmiths that mentioned the CPGB because they go on about guns. We haven't ended up on the prevent list. Either way, they now seem to be suggesting that individuals who indulge in individual terrorism. I mean, what the hell did this guy, where's the terrorism? This guy clearly, from everything we get in terms of reports of the court, of what he did on that fateful day, everything about his past, going from a quiet little boy in school to being expelled from school, shows you that he's got severe mental difficulties, which aren't going to be solved by a 52-year prison sentence. So we shouldn't be having a debate about a life sentence as opposed to 52 years. We should be talking about how comes this person was not treated. How comes he got to the stage of where he did get that knife and did unleash his fearful assault. In their own way, the mainstream politicians are reacting in the same irrational way as the rioters did on the following nights after this attack. This is not rational thinking. We need to look at society. What's wrong? What's sick with society that could produce such a disturbed young man? This guy was 17 and clearly had been suffering, is suffering from extraordinary disturbed behavior. So to me, it's not prevent that needs toughening and more people, put in its ridiculous net. We need decent mental health services. I know, in terms of my family, I'm sure people on this call also know from their family, from their friends, maybe themselves, how difficult it is to get mental treatment. Usually you go to the doctor and they say, you say, I'm depressed, and they give you a tablet. I just heard something, by the way, just on passing, on Radio 3, that said, well, music has got as much value in terms of curing people, or not relieving depression as drugs. Either way, we need decent mental health treatment. Mental health should be treated not as the Cinderella service of the NHS. It should be at the top. Everything in terms of the NHS is being run down, but the worst surely is mental health services.
Having worked as a mental health nurse in prisons, we can say with complete confidence that almost nothing will be done for his mental health in prison. I think the most likely outcome is that he'll end up on a vulnerable prisoners wing in somewhere like HMP Frankland, which is Cat A. So he'll be in a Cat A prison on a vulnerable prisoners wing because somebody will almost certainly want to kill him in prison. And from that point of view, he's been put in a position almost to be killed. He's been put in the most likely place to be killed. I understand that he does have a diagnosis of being on autism spectrum disorder, but I think there's probably considerably more to it than that. I mean, it's very difficult to imagine how any 17-year-old could go out and kill children without being severely disturbed. Just to put it into context, mean age of onset for bipolar disorder is about 21, much the same as schizophrenia. His behaviour in the months preceding the killings would strongly suggest somebody who was really quite disturbed. I mean, I'm working on the basis it's much the same in the rest of the country. I know in County Durham, specialist services for people, for example, with personality disorders, has effectively vanished completely. So although you get a lot of people who are usually detained under a section of the Mental Health Act and with personality disorders, for example, usually on the basis of more a danger to themselves than others, uh, but receive actually very, very little in the way of specialist services. They may occasionally get the care from a clinical psychologist, but it's highly unlikely. So, in other words, all he'll get is much the same as what anybody gets these days. Give out the pills and try and make sure people don't run away. And unfortunately, that is what mental health nursing has become now. And the opportunities for and within the prison service, it's in a sense even worse. So he may have access to mental health nurses, but his best bet would have been from the outset to be sent somewhere like Broadmoor. I haven't worked there, and I don't know anyone who's worked there for many, many years. But at least he may have been safer and have at least some possibility of specialist treatment.
Very good, Ian. I absolutely go with what you're saying. It's appalling, the mental health service. And I agree with Tina. Just handing out pills, um, you know, but I mean, one answer, I think, to mental health is organizing ourselves. If you are in a strong trade union, if you're in a strong political party, that gives you agency in this world. And too many people are just vulnerable to the bureaucrat, the boss, the police, and people under those circumstances go mad, and they stuff you full of pills. So calling that terrorism. It's not. I mean, I can't discern any political program killing 4 little girls. Sorry. I think it's sick. I think it's society that's sick in terms of treating him, this poor bastard, who's going to be in prison, perhaps, as Ian says, maybe cut up by his fellow inmates. I think Marx made the point once somewhere. How society treats its prisoners is a sort of litmus test of the health of that society. And we don't treat prisoners well at all. We treat prisoners appallingly.